Hey guys, welcome back to the FAQ podcast, where all the topics that you have been thinking about in the FAQ, we're bringing all the way to the front of the line because it needs its limelight. And here we are with the beautiful, talented, educated, gifted, sexy, none of that.
So humble.
Sit down, bro.
Khayt Hanara.
Hanara.
It's lovely to be here, fams. I have missed you both very much.
Oh, we love you.
My family.
Honestly, this mother to many, you're honestly mother to everybody, cousin to everybody, friend to everyone, but at the same time, just a universal connection is what I would best describe you. You've just got a connection with everybody.
No, I just try to be authentic, Kate. So,
and you invite everyone else to do that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
that's my jam at the moment. That's the journey I'm on.
Khayt Hanara, please introduce yourself and your pronouns.
It's lovely to be here, fams. My name is Khayt Hanara. I tell everyone that I come from Hamilton because this is where most of my life was lived, even though I was born in Wellington and my dad is from Hastings. He's Ngāti Kahungunu, Tūwhare Toa Tainui, but that's my Māori side, and my mother is from Scotland, little city on the east coast called Aberdeen, beautiful old city. So I have a very blended cultural background.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what are your pronouns?
My pronouns, I don't know, whatever anyone feels comfortable with. I identify as female. I'm straight.
Question mark.
Does it? Question mark. We've all been adventurous, but yeah.
Okay.
Family
cool.
I have some family members and other friends who have difficulty with finding the right pronouns, and I'm very fortunate and blessed to not have that in a conflict. So I don't care what anyone calls me, just call me.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my number.
Yeah, no, I am fortunate to not have had to. I don't have to deal with that. But yeah,
It's challenging at times.
I can imagine, and I've seen my sister. I've seen them go through various states of difficulty and then success in finding her pronouns, but I'm allowed to call her my sister because that's how we were birthed. So I'm the only one that's allowed to have a female, a feminine name for her. But I'm like, that's your name. That's not your description.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's a relationship there as well.
Beautiful.
So
Oh, yeah.
And I guess trust as well.
Yeah. She's
That
my
you know
sis-
more than that.
Yeah.
More than that label.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
She's-
beautiful.
She's my blood.
Yeah.
all right.
If they want to be called them or sis or whatever she wants to be called, yeah. I just got to try and remember all the time because I'm so terrible.
No, it's a learning opportunity for everybody involved.
I find it's been a little bit of a journey because she lives in Melbourne, so I only get to see her in certain times, and so I just drop out of that thing, and I'll call her sis. Oh, sorry. But it's different. Like when I've got some colleagues that I work with as well, but I see them every day, so it's a bit more habitual.
Yeah.
It's a really lame excuse that I don't see her that much, so I forget. But you know what I mean? It's
No,
getting into my groove.
And the fact that you're even trying
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
She's my blood.
Yeah. Yeah, but some people don't have that whakaaro, you know.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate that all my siblings were all really close. So. Yeah.
All fuzzies.
All right, so tell us about the communities and community that you see yourselves either belonging to once upon a time or belong to currently, and don't limit yourself to time and space. So you could go all the way to preschool, primary school, high school, all the different communities that you feel have shaped you in a positive and negative experience. So no limits.
Yeah, all right. I was raised in a Mormon household. And it was, I want to say it was very secular, but it was but it wasn't. It was quite a diverse range of different types of personalities at church that we grew up with, and we had over to our house and we interacted with like numerous times during the week, like Tuesdays was young women's, and like Saturdays was usually some other activity, and all of this kind of stuff. And I guess it was quite secular globally speaking, because we only really socialised heavily with those other Mormon families within our community. But I thought they were all as weird as everybody else. So I didn't ever think that I was being closed off to that until I hit my teens and my 20s and became naughty. And discovered other things like boys and alcohols, you know. But then that was just a lived experience. Like it wasn't I don't look back at that community as being a bad one, because actually I learned a lot from that, and I'm fortunate to have had a really good childhood. Some parts were difficult, like everybody's, but I know that I didn't have as many difficult experiences as some other people did. So my dad made a point to keep us safe, because he went through a whole lot of sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and all that kind of stuff. So his way of protecting us was to take us to church, which actually it worked out, Dad. So
Man, shout out to him.
yeah, he had his missions cut out for him, but yeah. So that was a very heavy community that I was involved in and identified with for a number of years. I even went to a Mormon university, y'all. So I spent 2 years at BYU, Hawaii. Met a boy, got pregnant with my son.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, too many joints on the beach.
Yes. Legalize. Everybody vote. Make sure you legalize
definitely legalize, man. Come on. Stop mucking around.
Yeah. Let's catch up with the rest of the world.
Totally. And then when I came back to New Zealand, I found myself in this single mum WINS community. So I went through the DPB when it was still there, and then put myself through uni, got work. It was all my uni community was actually really important to me. That was quite formative. Like when you have a child and by yourself, because I was a single mum the whole time, you kind of forget who you are. You just become the mum. Oh yeah, but I feel obligation to do this, or I feel obligation to do that. And so my uni family, and they really are my family now. I just caught up with one of them on the way here. Became very important to me, and I still maintain those relationships really well. Yeah, they're absolutely 100% my family. And now that I've left uni many moons ago, I have a very strong work family. So created a lot of really valuable relationships, because we're under pressure in a work situation. I'm just like, right, we've got to walk through this fire to get to the other side, guys. What are we going to do? So, right, you get the truck, I'll get the forklift, let's go. But going through those experiences at work have become incredibly tight with a number of friends in Auckland and around the country, in the world, I guess, who I consider family as well. They're my current community, I would probably say, because that's my life at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to have work post-COVID.
Hey, come on.
For sure.
Yeah,
Particularly in that industry,
Yeah, so those would probably be my 3 strongest communities that I identify with actively.
That's beautiful. I'm just so grateful that you're willing to come share.
Yeah.
Like, no one has to share this stuff. And I find often the communities people do talk about are communities that maybe aren't often talked about, like single mum communities.
Oh, yo, single mum community power.
Yeah, like that's such
What does
strong,
support look
beautiful
like
woman.
in that community, or what did support look like for you in that community?
Yeah.
I'll tell you some stories about when I was at uni. So me and my girl Ruth, and I just popped into see her on the way down in the last couple of weeks. We've reconnected after, like, not that we never disconnected, but we got to have a few catch-ups over just some different life situations. Like, and it's instantly back to the other moments of when we were younger, and a bit more affluent times probably. Just like, hey girl, and everything. All our conversations have slipped right back into that since day one. So I haven't lost any of that familial connection with her or my single mum community, even though we haven't seen each other for many moons. It's like, hey, girl, how's the kids? How's everything going? And catch up and share traumas and all of that kind of stuff. So single mum community at uni, we all babysat each other's kids so the other ones could go out. Straight up.
That's cool.
Yeah. Or like, oh, I've got no babysitting today. I've got to go to a lecture. Leave it with me, girl. Yeah.
Villages, eh?
Yeah, villages.
Find your village.
Yeah.
Find your rōpū.
Yeah.
Was there heavy stigma around being a single mother in that time and for all of you to have each other is a great thing, but was there stigma outside of that village?
Oh yeah. Lining up for wins to get food grants. Like, come on. It's dealing with systems like that feels quite dehumanizing. And there was times when the benefits system, Ministry of Social Development, had a bit better. You got a case manager and you'd see that person all the time, so you could develop a relationship with them. I'd be like, hey, you know that thing I talked about? It's happened again. What help can I access? And now costs need to be cut. And you become a number now in the system. So there's a lot of pastoral care that's not available at a government level at that. So we get it from each other now.
Yeah.
But yeah, single mums at uni wasn't too much of a thing. There was a class, definitely a class difference I felt at uni, because I used to hang out with all the Māori management students. And we were stigmatised as, oh, you guys are the ones that got all the money. I was like, actually, we put together a proposal and we got it legally. So check yourself. So
we did it through your system?
Yeah, we did it through your system. Actually, we enabled these benefits to be had. So watch me.
Enjoy my privilege, which I worked hard for.
Yeah, there was a lot of a lot of other students at uni were like, oh my God, you have a kid. I'm like, yeah, he's like 6 now. or whatever.
I'm over it, so should you.
Or whatever. I was like, oh my God, we're going to the dance. We're going to go get pissed. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've got to go do my grocery shopping.
Yeah. Different priorities, right?
Yeah, but not too. It wasn't too aggressive. I mean, you're always going to be looked down for having. Oh, you're not able to do as much as we are. Like, actually, I can do more. Yeah, I just haven't shown you yet. So, catch you up.
Did you feel in those spaces that you had to not prove yourself, but like work extra hard to be 100%. Seen as the same as the other students who weren't single parents?
Yep. Even down to how we dressed.
Wow.
Really?
Not being taken seriously in class. Wearing track pants to uni. I remember I wore track pants once. And I saw these girls on the other side of the class. I'm like, oh my God, what is she wearing? I'm like, fucking clothes, bitch.
Like, more than you.
Yeah.
Both of you were too strong there. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that was more to do with their experience that obviously come from a different privileged background where they probably still live. I mean, this is just an assumption myself. They have different finances going on home. They had no idea that I'm living by myself in a little 2-bedroom unit on Grey Street with a kid on the DPV. They just didn't know. And that continues to this day. Like I walk at, I got a story for you about race.
Yes, go there.
Go on.
I was stage managing at Auckland City Limits at Western Springs, and I walked in early onto site, and this other lady was beautiful, styled hair, this whole coiffed thing going on. And I walked in with 2 coffees, and she's like, oh, those for me. I'm like, no. And I carried on. She's like, oh, you need to unpack the car and like go over here. I'm like, no, this is my stage. I believe that you're my staff today. You're not due here till 10 o'clock. Constantly to this day. Just like little racial quips like that. She assumed that I was her labour for the day. I'm like, no, I'm the boss today. So,
whoa.
Like, even just last...
Oh, my God. How are people so fucking dumb?
Even just last summer, just like little things where people go, was a big tour that I was involved in February, March.
I'm sorry, my mouth is still open because I'm like, that still happens in 2020?
Oh, yo. So me and my son, we walked into site to rehearsals. And, this guy who I was working alongside with on stage just like looked at me and said, and we were dressed nice. Like I bought expensive clothes for this reason. He goes, oh, labourers around the back. I'm like, just stared at him. I'm like, this is my job. My name is Khayt. That's my stage. What's your name? So I can write it down. But to this day, bro.
And do you think it's amplified by being a woman?
Yes, 100%.
Ew!
They see my shaved head and assume that I'm not in a position of authority. I'm like, no, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm educated, I'm smart. And
That's so fucked up.
yeah, but I mean, that's light compared to some of the other people that were.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
all this
you're
other stuff
giving
in
us
the
like the surface level
That
things.
top 10%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really, I feel like it's if you can recognize that happening,
Oh, yo.
on like the
all
underlying
the time.
philosophies.
And even as like a person who's going into those spaces from a position of authority, imagine what's happening to like the labour
Yeah.
crew, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck, that's so shit.
Yeah, I made a point of like being extra nice to the labour crew. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
My name's Kate. Can you please help me with moving these boxes? Thank you. That guy over there, yeah, just ignore him. Come with me.
Oh, yeah. Good on you.
Yeah, but no, race has been
Honestly,
continues to be a big thing.
And how do you deal with it?
yeah,
What
how do you
off a
support
duck's back,
yourself?
bit of sass,
Yeah.
throw it back. It's like, hey, I'm gonna clap you out for that.
Does it ever get to you?
Oh yeah, sometimes. But I've learnt to become vocal about it and call people out. They don't know. People don't know to stop being dicks unless you let them know. Actually, bro, that was inappropriate, and I'll tell you why. X, Y, Z.
Rather than like you being a dick and leaving it at that.
Well, sometimes I can be a dick.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be a dick because sometimes lessons need to be learned a bit of a hard way. But often I'm in a position of authority, and I'm usually the only female on site, or one of very few females, and I'm the only brown female on site. So it's like, hey, mate, you need me to get my dick out?
Basically.
Bigger than yours anyway.
Yeah.
I can slap you in the face with
Yeah,
it.
if we want to get in that conversation, let's take a seat because I've got some notes.
So either way, I've got you. How do you want them presented? All right, so tell us your whakaaro around support, because I feel like we had to stop you, and me and Kelsey literally had to stop you because you were already spitting fire and we hadn't even started. So what? Tell us the
Is this the point to
Kaytology.
hustle my mixtape?
Yeah, basically. I was gonna start beatboxing, but then I realized it's bad for the mic. So, but yeah, so tell
I
us.
can't wax lyrical. Just. So I'll tell you, in leading into that question, maybe you can pull me back on track because I'll probably wander off.
No limits. Go there.
I'll tell you about a situation that I had recently where I relied on my village. So it's just over a month ago. My ex and I have been in a very tumultuous relationship for the last 9 or 10 years or something. And about a year and a half ago, we decided to call it quits. I eventually moved out, and he had some personal issues, which resulted in me moving back in during the first COVID lockdown. So there was some self-harm and some dangers around, so I made the decision to go back because that's the person I wanted to be. That even though we didn't get along, if someone needed me, I should be there.
Hard.
And if the situation was the other way around, would I expect them to help me? Yes. So it was important for me to be that person's village. During the last month or two, I found out I'm not the person's village anymore. And things got violent and he was arrested. So I won't go into his charges because that's his business. But things were quite tough, and he was arrested for what he did and what he threatened and what he said to me. So he's in the middle of the court process now. But at that time, it's really funny to be able to talk about it so easily. at the time it was incredibly traumatic. But now I feel it's only a month on, but I've spent years of counselling coming to this point. So I know I've learned how to manage my feelings and my expectations and my behaviours better to cope with things better. I've had some help. So anyway, I ended up living in my car for a few days and then on my son's couch. And I was in a safe house with Women's Refuge for about a week before finding my temporary accommodation where I am at right now. So I have a few possessions back, so it's nice to have one or two things. But I miss my other stuff. But it's quite confronting leaving with the clothes on your back and being told that things have been damaged and your children's babies' photos have been burned. I have nothing. So during this last month, I've realised, what do I actually need? I don't need stuff. I need my people. And I've had some very blessed experiences with my village. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get through this crap without my village. You know, the guard and the nurse and the cook, and even just the auntie and all the aunties. So when the situation went down, I was incredibly embarrassed, and it's like the inner workings of mine and my ex's relationship wasn't something that I talked about quite openly because I was really embarrassed. You know, shit's embarrassing when there's substance abuse and emotional abuse and all this kind of stuff going on. It's not kind of something you want to say, oh, hey, yeah, so I'm a victim of this. Mostly because I didn't want to feel weak, and I felt that admitting trauma and ridicule made me a weak person. And it wasn't until like now I'm like, actually, I'm going to own that. Just I was weak for not speaking up and not necessarily speaking up and fighting against someone else, but actually just speaking up for me. Like, you don't get to say that to me and get away with it. I don't deserve to be told that I'm a horrible person. I don't deserve to take this ridicule and stuff like this because I'm a good person and I need what I need to learn and grow, and you can't say those things to me anymore. So it was in difficult times, it was really hard to kind of divulge those kinds of things. So when all this shit went down, the only person I told was my son. And I put the ex on speakerphone, so I needed to evidence things at that time for the police records and all of that kind of hoo-ha. Just being in that position of like incredible fear. I feared for my life, and blows were made. Like got a big gnarly bruise over here and all of this kind of stuff. So in a McDonald's car park, yo. So I didn't even have to call the police. Someone else did. So, but during all of this situation, I was really embarrassed to admit that all of these things had gone on in our relationship, when we were together, and even now since we had passed and broken up, that these behaviours were still going on, and I was still letting someone diminish my flame. So I'd posted something on social media. I can't even remember what it was, but a very dear friend of mine just messaged me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, you had those light bulb moments. So I just replied, no, I'm not. And I told her a little bit of the story about what had happened. She goes, "You need to call the aunties." So I don't even really know who the aunties are, other than they're awesome. I know they're probably one of many similar organisations around the country, just being a first pit stop for people that are in trauma or in need, especially within domestic violence situations. That can be the first point of call. Anyway, so she's like, "You need to message this auntie and just tell her what's happened." So I messaged this lady on Facebook really late at night, and I got a message back really quickly. She's like, "Right, you need to do this. You need to call this person. Here's their number. Tell them I referred you. Yeah. Then when you talk to the police, you need to ask them for this detail, and you have this. You say these exact words because this is what's happened." So when I was in a moment of complete frustration and blindness of how to deal with the situation that was going on, suddenly I had a plan. It was just a to-do list. So I just did the list.
Yeah.
Like, it was either let him get away with it
Yeah.
or stick up myself and just follow these basic, simple steps. Call someone, tell someone this, ask for that. So I did. I haven't been in touch with Auntie Jackie ever since, and she probably doesn't realise how much she helped in that moment of blindness. But from there, it led to me being able to access support from social welfare. Shine is another incredible domestic violence support organisation in Auckland. Women's Refuge, the police, counselling, all of this other kind of stuff. So yeah, I had to seek out my village for that. And I don't know who the heck these people were, but I didn't know what to do, and I got a list. So I just did the list. I had to actively go out and do something for myself.
Do you reckon that, because I feel like there's this stigma around the fact that you're a woman firstly, and then to be abused by your husband, and then instead of just coming straight out and being like, hey, that's not right, I think a woman's kindness and generosity and heart is like, what's good for my family? Will I look like this and this like this?
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
any of those things come
Absolutely
through?
went through all of those processes. Ex and I weren't married, but we'd been together long enough that, you know, we called each other those affectionate husbandry, wifey kind of names and all that kind of shit. But there was, and there still is, because Dickhead was texting me the other day, and we've got a non-association order, kia ora, screenshot. Just like, why are you being so cruel to me? I'm like, actually, no, I'm not. There's an expectation still for me to be the weaker sex against him. I'm like, no, that's not how relationships work, whether we're in a romantic relationship or just a friend kind of relationship. There's a give and take. I'll lean on you when I need to, and you can lean on me when you need to. It doesn't go one way the whole time. So yeah, there was an expectation on me from him to behave in a certain way, to bail him out on various situations that he got himself involved in, all that kind of stuff. But when I started sticking up for myself and it just not taking that shit anymore, it was like, you're such a bitch now. I'm like, no, I'm just sticking up for myself. You can't do these things and get away with it. With him, I know he doesn't want to be that person. So I have to, it's really hard to hold anger in your heart for things like, with situations like that when someone aggravates you. Because I know that they don't want to be that. It just doesn't have the tools in his kete to understand where he's coming from or how his behaviour is acting to be. With him anyway in particular, I tried forms of communication and everything, but sadly it can't work out. And I made my peace with it.
Yeah.
I'm good, but sorry about it, bro. Much love. This is not for me anymore. Yeah.
Also, talk to me about, because I love the phrase that you said, seek the village, you know, like seeking the village of support or seeking people who can support you. From your perspective, how important is that seeking process? Because I feel like you have talked about people not having the tools and the kiti to support you. So, and then at the same time, you also talked about the fact that sometimes you're so stuck with the resources that you do have that you think you can't actually go and seek something else outside of your resources. So how important is that process for you?
Oh, 100%. You got to walk through the fire if you're going to make it through the other side. I know through the situation and accessing organisational support, I had resources. I got given a box of food. I got given a bag of clothes. I got given a Grace Malane toiletry bag with like nail polish and lipstick and like a nail file. Oh my God, it was so good.
The little things.
Yeah, when you're for my situation anyway, I literally left with the clothes on my back. So to have things to look after your bodily needs, you know, I have food, I have a bed now because, you know, I have a bed, I've got clothes to put on, I I got given $20 to put gas in my car, you know, those kinds of things. So like, what actually do I need now during that process? I'm going to waffle off for a minute, but I'll come back to it. Going through those situations, time alone was enforced on me to actually contemplate thine own navel and figure out what the fuck was going on upstairs and what do I need to overcome this situation, because, I deserve better. So how dare you make me scared for my life? Like, how dare you tell me that I'm not who I am? Like, I am who I am. You can't dispute who I am. And I've spent lots of years and lots of money on counselling and wines with the friends about becoming my own person and being okay with it. So when you're confronted with those situations, it was really important for me to take a few moments to myself. Turned out that it was like quite some time, whether it's a few days or moments or years or whatever. You got to come to that moment. It was like, I want better for myself. I was fortunate that I had the first village I reached out to was my physical needs, and then past that I started when I realised I need to fix inside of me. Well, not fix, because I didn't feel broken. I felt stabbed. How do I heal me? So I went back to my village that fills my heart, and I started messaging a friend about what had happened. And she's like, "Oh my God, do you need anything?" I was like, "No, I actually have everything I need. What I need is just to tell someone. What I need is just to talk through this with someone." One of my friends goes, "What do you need?" I was like, I need KFC.
Priorities.
Well, at the time, it wasn't necessarily about KFC itself, but I needed to get out of the physical space that I was in, and I needed to spend some time with a friend talking shit about shit. I needed a break.
A bit of a break. Yeah,
and a bit of salt and grease never goes astray either. I just needed that a familial experience. And so we went out for KFC. Yo, Wicked Wings.
Yes.
But I had to seek that out. For me anyway, in my own lived experience, I found when I need to fill the cup, I need to fill it with my village or my people. And so you have to seek those people out. If someone responds, if someone saw something that I posted, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not," and actually be able to say, "No, I'm not okay." I have found great strength in becoming vulnerable, and sharing my vulnerable side with trusted people, or even some that I don't trust, just taking a punt. Yeah, just that shows authentic Khayt. Yeah.
No, because you also talk about jumping in the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? What? Tell me that, because I feel like as soon as you said it to me, I was already like, what the fuck? How do I do this?
Yeah. I'm happy to say it's a familial trait that I've been brought up around. My dad was awesome.
Shout out, Dad.
He would let us hammer nails into anything and do that, be very curious in our learning growing up. So we were always like, right, you're the first ones up the tree, or I'm going to push you in the Waikato River. Yo, I jumped off the other side of, I jumped off Common Bridge, yo.
What?
Yeah, that was like what we did on Saturdays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, mean bombs. But that veracity and kind of chasing experience, literally jumping into a deep end to learn how to swim, I've found that those moments, when I have those moments, have become great sources of strength for myself. And this is just through my own learning. Like, I know that not everybody has that kind of stuff, but I've felt that when I need to learn something, or when a difficult time happens, there's nothing like a deep end to teach you how to swim. You got to, like walking through the fire to come out the other side. There's a wall there. I have to get through it.
Yeah.
The easiest way to get through it is to get through it. Meet the challenge head on. Just And I've enjoyed making that my personal brand.
Yeah.
The person I want to be is fierce and voracious in pursuing things that are good for me because I deserve that. Yeah, I want goodness in my life, and fuck me if I don't get it because I'm gonna chase it. So, yeah, so that's my thing about like throwing myself in the deep end, or like just live things fearlessly and being authentic and being vulnerable when it's not a wise decision. I'm like, no, I'm going to make an educated guess here. I've just started seeing this guy. He's amazing.
Shout out to him. Woof,
Shout out
woof.
to him. Shout out to the Viking.
Wow.
But just again, in the same vein, just showing vulnerability and creating that trust and companionship there. It's important to me to do that. So you know what? I'm all in. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Keep busy. Do the thing. If there's a thing in front of you, do the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's relating on that on all spectrums. Okay,
And
so
on so many different levels too. Like it could be as simple as like getting out of bed that day.
Oh, yo. My goal for the 2020 is to learn how to reverse a trailer. Oh, straight up. Yo,
Fair enough.
it is the one thing I want to do. So if there's a trailer with attached onto a van or a truck or a car or a quad bike or whatever, I'm going to learn how to do that because I want that.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I go after it?
all right. So Kelsey, what's your thing?
This podcast.
This podcast is
Yo.
no. This podcast is within your range. What is? I feel like
No,
you knew.
but it wasn't 3 months ago.
Really?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh.
Like I've never done a podcast before. This was not within my range. I knew that I had the connections to the people who had the skills to make it a reality.
That's all
But
you need.
I didn't have those skills. I didn't know what this like levelly thing is.
Yeah, but that's all right. You got the tools and the kit to
Yeah.
pursue that.
And like today's a pretty good example of I don't know what happened there, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
And now we can like carry on with the korero and just keep going. So this podcast was like, and it was like a brainchild. And then 3 days later, I talked to Joe. And then like, 2 months later, we're now
Yo,
sitting
that's
here.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this was definitely
Okay.
just do the thing.
Yeah. I'm going to drop a colloquialism on you that one of my very first employers did, and he still says it to this day. I'll try and do it in his voice. Now he's a heavy smoker. It's, hey, Kate.
The raspiness though.
He's just got so many mantras and they run through my mind constantly because it was a really positive experience at the beginning of my career. And some difficult times too, but the overall thing was if you aim for Mount Everest, because if you're only able to get to Mount Cook, fuck, that's still a beautiful view anyway. But why shouldn't you aim for Everest the first time?
Yeah.
Just doesn't mean that the other things that we aim for in life, just because we haven't, got into that sports team or into that career or something. So actually, this other pathway in my life has equivalent and equally valuable heart to me as well. So
Yeah. What's yours, Joe?
Science. I don't speak science.
oh,
And I think-
love logic.
And see, to me, I want to. Oh, so you speak science?
A little bit of science.
Yeah.
Or signs.
Science. Yeah.
I may or may not have once had a T-shirt that said "I heart" and it was the Microsoft Excel logo.
Oh my god.
Oh, so
Man.
you
Because
Science.
formulas.
as me towards you. No, I think science is a beautiful thing, and I think that because I was raised and conditioned through a religious perspective, I'm like now I'm like jumping into spirituality, and I feel like there's a bridge between spirituality and science that needs to
100%.
that needs to happen.
100%.
And I'm at that phase.
Yeah, the whole spirituality sphere. I mean, just because somebody hasn't written a document about it,
Doesn't mean it doesn't
surely we
exist.
can get someone to do that for us. Just like rather than me doing the work. But yeah, it's just because it hasn't been documented in a certain type of format. It is to say that that's not a real thing because it feels real in my heart. You know, if I feel sadness or sorrow or joy or love, that's real.
Yeah.
Just because
I don't
it
have.
hasn't been evidenced by a meter with a little wavy red arm doesn't mean that those things don't exist. It's yeah.
All right. So, what does ideal support look like for you? So, like zooming out from all the positive and negative experiences you've had with support with your different communities, what would for one of those communities or otherwise in general, what does ideal support look like for you?
Ideal support for me looks like the one that I've sought out.
Carry on. Go further. I feel like that's some juice.
If you don't know what you're looking for, how are you gonna find it? Like, if there's something missing in your life, go and look for that, or and if it's not there, create it and build it. Like, we're all capable of building our own village and building and forging new relationships and reading and singing and crying and all of those kind of things that give us beauty and education and all of that kind of stuff. Just the perfect support is one that suits me, and one that suits me, I have to know what I want. So that it may not be in one person and it may not be in one thing. I think it's really difficult to put all that pressure on one person that you say your best friend or a relative or something where you're like, oh, you are the one thing that saves me.
Oh my God, that's so much pressure.
Because it's not the thing. It's that you are of the people that came before you, and you are of the people around you. We're not just single entities. The
Intersectionality.
Yeah, the whole holding hands between spiritual and temporal things. It's not. Sometimes the wisdom is in ourselves, and we just needed to give ourselves the permission to find it or to speak it.
Yeah.
It's, finding some inner peace has been, or even not inner peace. Sometimes it's in a conflict, but you find those self-reflection to know who you are as a person, to be able to understand what you need. I found that that's my thing. And to be able to give it back when you're feeling shit, do something nice for someone else. Because if you can't smile, it's actually really important that you make other people smile, even if it's just like make a cup of tea for someone. Put the dishes on,
Yeah.
You never know what everyone else is going through. Yeah, that sharing of energy is very important to me. Because, it's how you build your relationships with people. So.
I'm just so grateful that you're willing to come through and have these conversations and share your experiences. Because I think there's so many people that would just be like, oh, no, like a bit too whakamata, come through and actually, have an honest conversation and be vulnerable.
Yeah. Being vulnerable has become one of my greatest strengths because I want it to be. I'm going to cry.
Go there.
Okay, go there.
I want to be a better person. I want to feel good about myself. I want to love the people that I'm with, and you can't do that without loving yourself and accepting all the shit things that you don't like about yourself. You say, no, I want better for myself. This doesn't matter at the moment, but I'm going to forge ahead with these plans in my life because I'm worth it and you're worth it. So, just putting yourself out there has been a great moment, a great source of strength for me, and incredibly terrifying and important for me. And I know that everyone's not the same. All of our paths and journeys are quite different. But I found it very important for me to find my peace with being authentic. Khayt is incredibly important to me. So I wear it on my sleeve.
And you also invite everyone else to do so as well, just by being authentic, Khayt.
People are fun. People are awesome. It's like, if I'm thinking something sassy, why shouldn't I say it?
Yes.
You know, it's like, or authentic Khayt doesn't always have to be science.
Yeah.
Or business. Authentic Khayt can be a real fucking dick sometimes and like say some really crass jokes, you know. But authentic Khayt is really important to me because it's who I am, and it's important to me to be honest to myself. And if that means being vulnerable, then I'll wear that.
Mm.
But by you being like willing to be vulnerable, you're giving others permission to do the same.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, that's how we connect with people.
Yeah.
Because you don't just say, hello, I'm going to trust you today between the hours of 1 and 2. I was like, yeah, we are who we are. And being vulnerable allows you to connect with people at that heart value. Where, like if you don't have it with yourself, sometimes you just need a small interaction with a stranger on the street. Hey man, how's it going? Like chatting at the bus. I chat with people on the train all the time. Sometimes it's just nice to have a chat.
Mm.
And then walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got to walk away sometimes, but just like, yeah, it's the type of person I want to be.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's the type of person you are.
Yeah. Thanks.
You already have everything you need.
Well, everyone has most of the things that they need. Sometimes we just need to like beef up our toolkit here. Just or learn something new or lend someone else our tools, you know.
All right. So in the Far Q podcast, we know that there's many topics that are in the further SQ.
Yeah.
So you using your intellectual property, what are some topics that you'd like to bring to the front and have a korero, like honest conversations about?
Oh, yo.
Like, and you sort of run down through your list. Like
Run down my list of things that I want to talk about. I would quite.
That you think society needs to be talking about.
Oh, yo, colonialism, race relations,
100.
legalize it, whānau. Vote, yes.
You know what we're talking about.
Mental health system,
Mm.
and not necessarily just the system as a healthcare provider, but the mental health system that we manage in ourselves, and our networks. Untolds. Yeah, untolds. Those are all quite political issues, I realise, but those are, they're all at the forefront of my mind and things that are quite important. And I see direct impacts of failures in any part affecting me and my friends, and that's not cool.
Mm. That hit deep. That one hit deep.
Yeah, it's not cool, and I need to say something about it. I don't know what I could say because I'm not that highly educated in all of those spaces, but I see that there's a need for someone and for someone to find some answers. Why shouldn't I ask a question of like onus and responsibility of if we're all here trying to like live our lives to be better people to ourselves and each other, what's wrong with that thing over there that's stopping us from doing that? And why aren't we talking about that? And why aren't we fixing it? And why aren't we putting some love and energy into that space? Just
Oh, you're so affirming. Like, I'm just so fucking validated just listening to you. Only because you I've said it before and I'll say it again. You literally drive home the undercore, like my core values and philosophies.
Oh, I'm quite opinionated, and I've come to acknowledge that I am.
To who? Or are you just intelligent?
No, I'm not intelligent. I rely on the intelligence around me because I don't hold all the information. I don't hold all that knowledge. There's a collective knowledge and strength from everybody's information and everybody's lived experience that far supersedes my own. Why hell could I ever call that mine?
Yeah.
That's my village over there and they got me.
Yeah.
So
I see you.
let's get together and have a korero about XYZ. Those things are important to me and my village.
How does it make you feel to know that you have that village standing with you and going through all these experiences
Very
with
loved.
you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very loved.
We love you.
I feel important and I feel valuable to myself. It's an incredible gift. Yeah, I'm good. I'm important to me. Fuck those haters. I like who I am, and my village lets me feel that.
I fucking love your village. I fucking love your village.
I love my village too. Like our villages are all like extended networks. It's not just my inner family and friends. It's the lady at the bakery who makes really nice chicken and avocado sandwiches.
Hey, come on.
But like,
It's really important. It's important, mahi.
But I know this bakery. I can walk in and she's like, "Oh, hey, Kate, how are you?"
Oh,
But
that's
you
so
know what I mean? It's not like the people that we make authentic connections with. It's like, actually, I feel like she's asking me, "How are you today?" I'm like, actually, I'm a bit shit. Oh, here, have your favorite chicken and avocado sandwich. I'm like, thanks, sister. Yeah, it's not just our immediate family and friends. It's all those that we come into contact with and show our authentic selves to. Yeah.
All right. So, what's one advice that you'd give yourself when all the chips are down and you're feeling absolutely fucking like the world's against you? How do you show up to yourself? And what's one advice that you would try and keep in mind so that you can remind yourself?
Jeez, that's not a hard question, is it? All is it, Joseph?
Hey, we're in the
Joseph,
deep.
middle name Monise.
Joseph Deep Monies. When the chips are low, what is the mantra? What you've spoken that your boss had mantras, but what is Kate's mantra?
I deserve better. I deserve better. I deserve not to feel like shit. I deserve better. I deserve better. Get the fuck up. Make your list. Do the list. Yeah. I deserve better. Fucking work hard to get it. Face some demons. Fucking slay them. Yo.
Dragon Ball Z styles.
Yeah. I never watched Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, God. What was your vision? Go there.
Yo,
you
we
better
know.
go
We can
there,
see it
go
on your
there.
face.
Ninja Turtles.
Which one was your favourite?
Yeah, which one?
Michelangelo. I liked Raphael's sassiness.
I love Raphael.
Yeah. But Michelangelo, he was the dude. Yeah, he was the dude. But my favourite character on the show was always Shredder. Dude, his cape.
Yeah, he did look slick, in
He
his
had a cape,
outfits.
And he had to deal with idiots at work.
True. All right, good. Thank you for coming. We really we love you.
Thank
We
you for letting me
appreciate
cry
you.
with you.
I know. I'm like, we need to get some tissues in here because I'm legit actually cried. But honestly, not bravery because it's not that.
No, it's,
Your ability to be vulnerable and your willingness to be vulnerable with us and then with the people that are listening as well.
I'm bigger than, we're all bigger than just ourselves. We're the people that we're connected to. It's like wisdom isn't something that's just, filed away. It's like a ngako. It grows, it burns, it's a seed. Like wisdom and that shared experience, it doesn't have to be so secular. Yeah. We're all part of the same. I fully 100% believe it, and because I need it to be so to keep me calm.
Well, that's the reality that you have to create
Yeah.
as well.
Well, that's what I want from life. That's what I'm living. So,
Thank you for coming.
thank
If
you.
people want to get in contact with you or want to follow you on socials, plug yourself in.
Oh yeah, I'm on socials, Khayt Hanara, and Kate is spelled Khayt. I would love to say I blame my hippie parents, but it's kind of a long story. And I'm on Insta at Your face is Molly, all one word.
Do we want to talk about that name? Well, what's up?
When we were kids, my brother made up an imaginary person. We used to ask my parents, do you know Molly Hoffey? And my nan was like, yeah, I think I do. She was Scottish. Yeah, I think I remember Molly. And it was a completely imaginary person that we made up. So like that was like our family joke. It's not a drug reference.
Yeah, because that's what I thought. I was like, okay, your
it's
face
not.
is Molly.
That must have been an experience.
Put it this way, I joined up on Instagram before Molly was called Molly.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you just literally did a throwback.
Yeah.
All the way there.
Yeah.
Show my age here, guys. Get me some eye cream.
Oh.
All right. Well, you can catch up with us on Instagram as well at FarQ Podcast. And again, thank you, Khayt, for coming through. We appreciate you. We love you.
Thank you for having me on. I miss you guys.
Yeah.
You're my family.
Love you. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
All right.
Hey, fuck you too.
Fuck it. Okay. Come on, start us.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.